First thing that usually catches my attention in a video game is how it controls. I like to get a general sense of what the controls are like and how it might affect gameplay. Is it tight and precise, or is it floaty and loose? 3D games tend to be floaty and loose to allow for like room for error because people don't understand the Z-axis. So they gave Mario a funny hat, and they gave him flood, and they gave him a double jump, and where was it? Right, so and 2D games tend to be narrow with tight and precise jumps to allow for precise gameplay. Movement is an essential part of video games, and for some reason people tend to attach themselves to video game movement mechanics and getting really good at going fast. If you've ever tried to beat your friend's high score or shave your time in a game or task, I'm sure you can relate to the universal feeling of breaking down a video game's mechanical structure purely for the sake of going fast. Watching these gameplay videos of people doing something that looks incredibly hard can be very satisfying, but the audience starts to wonder how hard it can be to perform these stunts. Sometimes it's intuitive and engaging, and sometimes it's just not fun at all. Every game has its own skill floor, but it's a job of the developer to streamline the process for the player to reach it, and more importantly, make sure it's fun to do so. Playing a good video game should make you feel as if your character is an extension of yourself, an instrument to control, and the level design is like the music sheets. But what happens when your instrument isn't tuned properly and the music sheets aren't even music sheets? It's like a treasure map, and it's stupid and it's not fun. It's just annoying. I can't find my way around it. It's not fun. I'm not having fun right now. This is stupid. I fucking hate this game. The question isn't rhetorical. It's getting over it with Benedict Foddy.
Yes! No!
Sorry about that.
No! It's the level of control. Yeah!
It calls itself a B game, which means purposefully lacking in quality and made for the sake of creation. Its controls are super unintuitive, and it doesn't give you a tutorial, which is the point. It's not supposed to be fun. It's supposed to challenge you. It's bitter, it's coffee, it's grapefruit, it's licorice. Finding fun is literally a side mission, and if you find it, good for you. Some people hate this game. To see it as nothing more than some cheap viral cash grab that YouTubers use as a way to just get angry, be funny, and get a bunch of views is a very fair opinion. Despite its shortcomings, many people defend it. The main argument is that the game tried to do something and then executed it very well. It's primarily about the game's message. Throughout your playthrough of the game, the developer will usually chip in and talk about something that revolves around how media is becoming really disposable nowadays. I think it's really interesting how a lot of the stuff that he talks about still holds up to this day. One message from the developer in the game really caught my attention. I'm going to show it to you right now.
A funny thing happened to me as I was building this mountain. I'd have an idea for a new obstacle, and I'd build it, test it, and it would usually turn out to be unreasonably hard. But I couldn't bring myself to make it easier. It already felt like my inability to get past the new obstacle was my fault as a player rather than as a builder.
I'm sure this question comes up a lot in game design. Is the game difficult, or is it badly designed? Is the game clunky, or am I literally dog shit? That question was rhetorical. You don't have to answer that one. I'm sure everyone comes up with their own answer for every game that they play. I'm sure we can all at least agree that this game is interesting. Sure, I'm not denying that it's pretty bad, but I really liked its message, and once you've mastered the controls, going to replay the game is actually pretty fun, I feel like. Time for another thing. Most people's first impression of Melee is that it's clunky. I'd like to think it's strict in its movement so that pulling off stunts like this could be difficult yet rewarding. I feel like if this was easy, it wouldn't be as impressive. Personally, I love Melee, and so do many others, but I just have to recognize that its strong suits are also its weaknesses. Terms like tech skill, wave dashing, and L canceling are very unfamiliar to newer viewers, but are essential to understanding what makes Melee unique. Understandably, there's a gap in knowledge that beginners and viewers need to cross, and by many conventional metrics, Melee is not a good video game. It lacks in its single-player campaign, and it barely teaches you advanced or beginner techniques. There are some insane people who dedicate their lives to this game, and then there are some people who just don't like it, which is fair. You don't even have to really reach the skill floor just to see what you think about this game, you know? Or it's a waste if you really don't enjoy it. I really want to emphasize that not everyone's gonna like it, and what upsets me is that people who might like it are pushed away from it because you have to break into it like a shoe. What sets Melee apart is its focus on a small number of viable characters. There's arguably 12, and anyone who says 11 is coping. This creates a deep and nuanced matchup system. It's a movement fighting game. Have you ever tried to do a Falco pillar combo? It feels like you're choking a goose. I believe tech skill is a tool that, when used improperly, screws up your skill floor. Like when you try to parry in Street Fighter, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by holding forward instead of back for block. That's an example of a good game mechanic in my opinion. Unlike most mechanics in fighting games, L canceling, aka lag canceling, harbors no risk when doing it. You just do it and it takes away lag and it makes you faster, and accounts for a lot of the carpal tunnel that Melee players get. Some people call it fake depth. I think that's a bit extreme. I just don't fuck with it. I don't know. I don't have a point to make that hasn't already been made about it, so I'm just stating what I think. A lot of its mechanics can be derived from it being rushed. With a mix of conscious decisions made by the developers, like to make the gameplay faster and more precise, and accidents spawned by the game's physics engine, led to a magical handoff slam dunk to make one of the best fighting games ever made. You can tell this part's shoehorned in, also screenshot if you want. Melee's combos are the most fun, intricate, tight in the entire series, and the lows of whatever this is, and the highs of Axe v Silent Wolf are moments that make me so proud to be a part of this community.
I'm playing very impressive.
I'm sure most would look at these games and wonder why nobody streamlines movement into their video games well enough. Is it just cursed to be unfun? There is one game that I know that does it pretty well. It's Pizza Tower. I had been following Pizza Tower for a minute. I just wasn't really interested. I played a demo of it and I thought the controls were just clunky and, you know, I didn't see anything to it. When it came out, I wasn't really interested in, you know, testing it out or seeing if it was really good. But my friend gifted it to me, so I was like, alright, I'll give it a shot. And, yeah. Needless to say, I'm glad that I was given a chance to give Pizza Tower a chance. This game needed... My God, I'm gonna fucking lose it. This game needed more time in the hypothetical pizza oven, and that's what it got. The developer took the time to make a video game that anyone can enjoy, and it paid off. It introduces game mechanics without having to sacrifice pacing. The game mechanics and controls no longer feel like they're working against me. Fucking mosquitoes, man, I'm sorry. The level design works in tandem with how the player moves, so messing up doesn't feel like the game hates me. The game will literally say you suck, and it will feel warranted. This is such an essential thing for a lot of movement video games. Movement mistakes will feel What the I'm sorry, what? So, I don't own this. Where'd this fucking come from? Hello? Okay. Collectibles and achievements are- wait, hold on, I didn't do a fucking mic test. Collectibles and achievements are typically used to give players more incentive to play with a shortage of content. But for me, I collect so much to the point the game just starts feeling boring. I was gonna compliment the fact that it took the liberty of making a Halloween update just for fun, but then I realized it was just more collectibles and a compilation of secrets. If you've ever seen demos of Pizza Tower, I'm sure you could easily infer that a lot was left on the cutting room floor. It's a completely different game. The way that I see it is that when you're uploading a demo of your game in an early state, it can be risky because it pushes possible consumers away, but it gives you criticism that you can take to make your video game better. This game serves as a reminder that even the most complicated controls can be fun for everybody if the developer just takes the time to make it work. I immediately fell in love with this game's art style. It's just fucking hilarious. Although Pizza Tower's OST and visual style are certainly noteworthy, this game's focus on movement mechanics is what sets it apart. It's at this point in the video where we exit the rabbit hole of relatively obscure video games and enter something a little more mainstream. Celeste is an indie game made by Matt Makes Games in 2018 where you play as Madeline, a girl who can walk, jump, and dash in like 8 directions.
How original.
At its core, it's a simple platformer, but the beauty of Celeste is with its straightforward game design. It strikes a perfect balance between challenging and rewarding. It's an excellent example of how a game can teach players how to do complicated and cool things without being overwhelming. Anyone can pick it up and eventually master its most difficult screen through trial and error. Its story is simple, but anyone can get behind it. It follows Madeline's journey to overcome her anxiety and depression.
Daring today, aren't we?
Fuck you, Squidward. When I learned that I have friends that have cleared all of Celeste's screens, I'm surprised at this. Celeste is such a uniquely intimate experience with the player that it's kind of surprising to find that other people have beaten all of its levels. Celeste can feel extremely fair, in the sense that it's not artificially difficult. The difficulty comes from your ability to solve how you need to get from one screen to the other. It rarely ever throws an impossibly tight section at you, and when it does, it's in good taste. The level design is good. That's all you need to know. The level design is good. And you know what? I kind of want a second opinion from someone who also specializes in reviewing Celeste late. Can I know your professional opinion on Celeste?
Fucking hate that game.
You fucking hate that game? I just wanted to know what you thought about the game, because, you know, it's not like you made it
It's your average
clear.
ass 2D platformer. It's 2D indie game.
I don't
with
think
subtle
that.
Themes of depression.
I don't think that!
It's subtle themes of depression.
Hey, thanks for watching my video. This is my first time doing something like this, and I'd like a little bit of feedback. It doesn't have to be too big, but just let me know if you like this kind of stuff. By the way, sorry about teasing Ultra Kill twice just to not talk about it. I really like Ultra Kill, I just didn't know how to fit it into the video, and I thought it would be funny to tease it. Eventually, I will talk about Ultra Kill with a little more depth.
Holy shit! Hey, something. Please. Who the heck flushed me? What the? Be able to.
Yeah, I'm not getting smoked. Yeah.
You have a quarter ready?
Sorry about adding so many fucking montages, I can't help myself. Anyways, what you just saw was Ultra Kill. Now, can we please talk about Ultra Kill? I have been dying to talk about Ultra Kill with you all day today, okay? My entire viewership is just that of Ultra Kill fans. I cannot avoid this game. Everywhere I go, there's this borderline fucking GoPro. He's everywhere. I can't not see him. I sleep and I close my eyes and I see... No, I wouldn't talk about this game if I didn't think it was fucking awesome. I love this game. Ultra Kill body slams what inspired it into the ground, because in comparison to games like Doom, Quake, Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, this game, Ultra Kill, allows the player a level of freedom of expression that these games just can't compare to. In this game, you traverse through hell with a crazy variety of weapons, and you're expected to switch between them a lot and, you know, use them in tandem with one another. You get blood from killing enemies, which heals you, and speaking of the enemies, each one really adds something to the playing field, rather than just being there. When I first picked up the game, I was getting decision paralysis because I had to switch between a bunch of different weapons with interweaving mechanics. As I played, this feeling went away and weapon comboing became kind of fun. Well, sometimes I don't even use certain weapons and I feel kind of wasteful. But it's kind of the reason why I like this game. You choose which weapons you want to play with and you choose how you play with them. That's this game's freedom of expression. Each weapon is unique, and if it's not, it's usually a variant of another weapon, so if you don't like one, you get another choice. This very explicit combo meter will hinder your gameplay if you don't switch weapons. And the fresh meter will try to remind you to change weapons, Travis. Here, let me just rapid fire some things. For instance, the coin. The coin flipping mechanic at first seems like an interesting gimmick, but once your arsenal expands and you try weapon chaining a bit, you'll find that there's a rabbit hole of mechanics behind this simple coin. During the development of Ultra Kill, the developer had realized that you can parry your own shotgun pellets. This wasn't a glitch, but more of a symptom of the game's physics and mechanics. In my mind, I always compare it to wave dashing because it was discovered during development, kept in as a left-to-be-discovered accidental happenstance mechanic, and the people loved it. And that is it. That's what I wanted to say about Ultra Kill. I think the game's great. Let me wean you into our next subject. When you think of platformers, what games do you normally think of? After all this talk about indie games, I'm sure you've kind of forgotten about Mario. Funny how he's left out of most conversations about movement in platformers. Kind of, because, what's there to talk about? He's Mario. It's funny how every time this conversation comes up, we think of pioneers like TF2, Quake, Titanfall 2, but in reality, we wouldn't have had any of those if it wasn't for... Everyone was having so much trouble adapting into the new 3D environment, but for some reason, Nintendo just passed the bar test, and then with flying colors, literally setting the curve for everyone around them and the entirety of the 3D video game landscape. This is a term I feel like a lot of people should use more. Nintendo quite literally took the first napkin. You see that little shadow on the floor that helps you coordinate yourself in the air? Mario 64. Remember long jumping from Half-Life 1? Yeah, Mario 64. Remember that scent that takes you back to your childhood, only to be blown away by the wind? Mario 64. And I haven't even talked about the speedrunning scene. If I needed an example for pushing the human limit, I would look no further. So yeah, with all due honesty, I could have talked about any game I really wanted to. I had to talk about Entropy and Bomb Rush Cyberpunk at one point, and I feel kind of bad for missing them in this video, considering the fact that I feel like, comparative to all the other games that I've talked about right now, those games deserve more attention. I'm sure your question is why I chose these games specifically, and it's... Well, you see, I just wanted to fill out my bingo card. Okay, the video's fucking over. I don't want to do this here anymore. Also, I was watching this Relax video, and he kind of summarized my point pretty well. Here, let me just get out of your way.
People love getting good at badly designed things, then blame new players for being bad and tell them to get better.
Dude, this game sucks.
Said by person who is losing in said game. So yeah, that's my problem with like some movement video games. I know I didn't really get to a point here. I just wanted to talk about video games. And also, this video took a long time to make, and during the process, I had watched a lot of other video essays and compared it, and realized I don't think I was getting my point across as well as I wanted to, so it led to me changing a lot of things, and I wasn't doing it fast enough, so it just led to this video taking actually months to make. If I were to make any changes, I would probably do more justice to getting over it. I feel like I was downplaying it a lot. I was really validating the idea that it's just sort of a cash grab game, and I know that like a lot of people think that, and I was trying to validate that thought because it's sort of fair, but I don't really feel that way, you know? And for anyone who's wondering, yes, I'll play Titanfall now that they fixed it. There was this extra section for the Melee chapter that I forgot to add, so you can read it if you want to. I don't know, I'm not your fucking dad. Another thing I really wanted to talk about was Celeste, and I realized I had something bad to say about every single game except Celeste. Celeste is my favorite game ever made, so fuck it, I don't care. Here's a section I cooked up for anyone who doesn't like Celeste, I don't know. Also, Nintendo fucking... Look at this shit. Nintendo fucking, it says right here, Nintendo's best in 4-player action, but Nintendo's legal team doesn't treat it that way, and I just thought that was fucked up. Anyways, join my Discord. I'm gonna go home now.